Is there a way to determine which service, in Svchost.Exe, does an outgoing connection? I'm redoing my firewall configuration with more restrictive policies, and I would like to determine the provenance and/or destination of some outgoing connections. I have an issue because they come from Svchost.Exe and go to web content application delivery providers, or similar. So is it possible to know which service does a particular connection? Or what's your recommendation about the rules applied to these ones? Commodore Firewall and Windows 7. Update. Netstat ANO and TaskList SVC help me a little, but they are many services in one Svchost.Exe, so it's still an issue. Moreover, the service names returned by TaskList SVC are not easy readable. All the connections are HTTP, port 80, but I don't think it's relevant.
Sysinternal's Process Explorer can do this for you. Open the process properties of the Svchost.Exe instance you are trying to analyze. Click on the TCP/IP tab. Double-click on the connection you are wanting to discover to bring up a stack trace of the connection. You should be able to trace the stack back to the DLL that implements the service. Here is an excerpt from the help file on the topic of process properties. TCP/IP. Any active TCP and UDP endpoints owned by the process are shown on this page. On Windows XP/SP2 and higher, this page includes a stack button that opens a dialog that shows the stack of the thread that opened the selected endpoint at the time of the open. This is useful for identifying the purpose of endpoints in the system process and Svchost processes, because the stack will include the name of the driver or service that is responsible for the endpoint. Also on configuring symbols. Configure symbols. On Windows NT and higher, if you want Process Explorer to resolve addresses for threads, start addresses in the Threads tab of the Process Properties dialog in the Thread Stack window, then configure symbols by first downloading the debugging tools for Windows package from Microsoft's website and installing it in its default directory. Open the Configure Symbols dialog and specify the path to the gelp.dll that's in the debugging tools directory, and have the symbol engine download symbols on demand from Microsoft to a directory on your disk by entering a symbol server string for the symbol path. For example, to have symbols download to the C:\symbols directory, you would enter this string, break time equals 1s/break. Note, you may need to run Process Explorer as administrator to be able to see the thread stack. I have found a method in this server fault answer about services and memory usage that I could use to analyze individually the network usage of services with any network tool. Split each service to run in its own Svchost.Exe process, and the service consuming the CPU cycles will be easily visible in Task Manager or Process Explorer. The space after == is required. Do this in a command line window or put it into a bat script. Administrative privileges are required, and a restart of the computer is required before it takes effect. The original state can be restored by
I know this may be outdated, but still this page ranks high in search for Svchost connections, so I'll toss my input here. There is a tool called Svchost Process Analyzer. It may help. This URL.
Try using TaskList/SVC and Netstat or Netstat, and from the command line. This will show you the programs that are using Svchost.Exe and the ports being. Using the port numbers, you may be able to look up the protocol that commonly uses the number. See list of TCP and UDP port numbers.
TView is a graphic tool that will show you the service, PID, and TCP connection, both local and remote.